Here now with reaction. Fox News contributor Tommy Lahren, psychology expert Dr.Gina Loudon, and author, attorney, and political liberal analyst Danielle McLaughlin. All right, here's the most amazing thing, and I can't take it anymore, Danielle. I don't like that conservatives, that the president, this is a lie. And this is a narrative that happens every 2 years and every 4 years. Republicans, conservatives, the president are racist, sexist, misogynistic. You know what? Stop lying about who we are. Because none of us, Tommy, Doctor, we're not racist, nor is the president, nor are the people around him. And I'm not saying for this woman to be fired. I'm saying that the left does this every single election cycle. And I've never heard you say for them to knock it off.
I'll say it right now, knock it off. I don't think it's fair for anyone to be characterizing the president that way. I think that he gave folks a little bit of red meat with his on both sides comment in Charlottesville, which he did, in fairness, walk back. I will say, though, that the idea that someone from the White House podium is calling for the firing of a private employee is sort of ridiculous. Can you imagine if Josh Earnest had said that Donald Trump should have been fired for the birther conspiracy from The Apprentice? I mean, I don't think that's the place of the White House, but I will say that this is not a helpful
but it's really
comment.
Conservatives. Tommy, you understand this. Dr. Loudon, you understand this. It's conservatives that are, you know, they say one thing that is viewed over the line and, oh, fire them, boycott them. Tommy.
Well, it's happened at ESPN before. I think we remember what happened to Curt Schilling because of a post that he made on Facebook. Again, it was not on the channel, but his repercussions were far more strict than the little talking to that they gave the other host over at ESPN. Now, I can't help but think maybe there's a little double standard going, and maybe ESPN really values diversity, but not so much diversity of opinion. I think that sounds more correct to me.
Dr. Loudon, isn't there something wrong if you're so willing to lie about other people? And I'm leaning on your psychology background and your doctorate here.
Yeah, well, there's definitely something wrong with somebody who's going around name-calling instead of acting professional. Having said that, she has the right to say it. But here's the thing, Sean. It's as if ESPN doesn't realize that the Trump voter is their audience. You look at the NFL players, you look at the PGA, the LPGA even. Very frequent voters, very conservative people, and those are your ESPN viewers. And so if they were going to do anything with this particular commentator, they may want to think of replacing her just because she is bashing their own audience. Yeah. This is why the left continues to lose, and this is why conservatives tend to build their numbers.
Dr. Loudon, I think we conservatives are far more tolerant of freedom of speech, expression, and thought. I don't do boycotts, and I don't call for firings. Imagine if a conservative had said whatever similar during the Obama years. What would the reaction be?
Well, there's always a hypocrisy, Sean, and we're used to it. But here's the good news. You've watched the decay of the leftist media over the last 8 to 10 years as they continue to spout their bigotry and to be so intolerant. And it's left a really good place for conservative media, and conservative media is continuing to fill those voids. I like to say that every time the left spouts their mantra, another conservative gets their wings. And I really believe this is no exception to that.
All right, it's a wonderful life, Dr. Loudon. Tommy, I assume, and I don't know for sure, I know I've been a target of all of this, and fire Hannity and boycott Hannity, and the left isn't really tolerant. I've seen horrible things about you and Dr. Loudon, myself, on social media and by these groups that are funded seemingly from Soros type of people.
Well, of course, and I'm someone that has gone to bat for what I believe in, and I've had to feel the repercussions. So I'm not somebody that calls for boycotts or calls for firings either, and I would never do that. I've been very vocal about that. But I will say this, kind of what Dr. Gina was talking about there, the Trump voter is a sports watcher, and we're folks that enjoy watching ESPN, love watching the commentary, and I wouldn't call for a boycott, I wouldn't call for a firing, but I would just say to ESPN, you know, your numbers are not going to lie, because we're going to start turning off the TV, and that's how we're going to voice our opinion, that's how we're going to use our freedom of expression, our freedom of speech. So watch out. You might be losing a big chunk of your audience, and we're not going to feel bad for you when you do.
You know, and Danielle, last point to you, hasn't been helping the NFL with Colin Kaepernick and all these players. Seems that a lot of people are reacting. Ratings are down from last year, and last year was not a good year for the NFL.
You know, I'm a free speech absolutist like many conservatives, even though I am not a conservative. And I think what is happening with
a lot of your fellow liberals are not.
Well, maybe that's a discussion for another day.
Nobody defends me when I'm being boycotted on the left.
Well, I'm defending you right now, Sean. I don't think that if you hear something that you don't like, you should call for the firing of that person, right? That's one of the foundational values of this country. And I don't like it when it comes from the left or the right. On Colin Kaepernick, like, he has this free speech right to protest, to take a knee, which I personally think is actually a very reverential thing to do, obviously, when you are listening to the national anthem. People have the right to like it, to not like it. His employers, who are private entities, have the right to hire him or not. And maybe this is the free market talking, but I will defend his right to take that knee, to my last breath.
It looks like the conservatives are the ones that are open-minded, the ones that believe in freedom. All right, guys, good to see you all. Thank you for being with us. When we come back, Daily Caller has